All right, man. If you want to start by introducing yourself and saying your major and your year and all that.
How's it going? My name is Eddie Mercado. I'm an ESRM major. This is my 5th year at CI, and I'll be graduating this May.
Okay, nice. So what made you pick ESRM as your major?
Prior to ESRM, I was a math major, and I switched because I talked to a couple people in the program. I had mutual friends in the program also, and they kind of made me change my decision. I chose it ultimately because of I think outside of a bachelor's degree, I think it would have a good job security, and I also think it was a good fit for me. I like to be outdoors, I like to work with my hands and stuff like that.
Nice. So as an ESRM major, you are familiar with probably a lot of things that are essentially threatening to the environment.
Right.
So is there anything that you know about or are particularly interested or passionate about in terms of threats that are upon like the coast essentially?
Right here in Ventura County, we have a lot of good open space laws, so you don't really see that much like pollution or smog, say as in like LA County. But one thing that affects us like all is global warming and like rising water temperatures, rising sea levels and stuff like that. All that can like alter habitat for our native species on the coast. One species in particular, the western snowy plover, it's a shorebird. It's endangered right now just because of that factor of global warming and then habitat fragmentation and stuff like that.
Perfect. And then also, so since it's your last year here, you're working on your capstone, right?
Yep.
You want to get into what exactly you're doing with that, and
yeah, so I'm looking at a rare tree species out in Santa Rosa Island. It's the island ironwoods. They're located only on Santa Cruz Island and Santa Rosa Island. They're a relictual species, which means that they were once part of a bigger fauna. There was like way more diversity, but now they're kind of bottlenecked, and there's only like 1 or 2 species, subspecies. And there's been no data collected on the ones out in Santa Rosa, so basically my capstone was getting that baseline census, getting all the data for it, getting GPS tracks of where the groves are located, taking their height, taking their DBH, which is the diameter of their breast, or diameter of their trunk, or breast height. And then we're also looking at their ability to clone and regrow, essentially. So there's a lot of history of ranching out in Santa Rosa, and there's a lot of history of habitat loss and degradation because of that. And these, along with the other hardwood tree species out in Santa Rosa, give us like a picture on like how regeneration is going out there, and how passive restoration is what we like to call it, how passive restoration is effective.
all right, dope, perfect. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
All right, so if you want to start, just start by like introducing yourself and saying what your major is and what year you are.
Hi everyone, my name is Lee Vella. I am an ESRM major, Environmental Science Resource Management, emphasis in resource management, and I did my capstone on Santa Rosa Island.
Nice. What exactly are you doing in the Santa Rosa Islands for your
I
capstone?
am studying and comparing tadpole density between 3 canyons, Water Canyon, Queimada Canyon, and Lobo Canyon at Santa Rosa Island.
Okay, awesome. And what do you hope to achieve with the study that you're working on?
Well, that's a good question. I hope to pass the course. No, I'm just kidding. I did this study basically to set a baseline study for future students to kind of take over. I wanted to do something a little bit different from the norm, so I'm a big amphibian fan. I guess you could say ornithology and herpetology are kind of my forte. So I wanted to go down that avenue. I want to go to the conservation field, and I felt like doing something working with amphibians on a national park would be opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
Okay, awesome. And so, as an ESRM major who is working on things like this, what are your thoughts on the coast and how it should be protected?
I think the coast is in big trouble. In my perspective, I think Los Angeles is spreading from San Diego to San Jose. Just because of the urban sprawl, the coastal development. Species such like the California gnatcatcher are in serious trouble because of coastal development. And I think it's vital to protect it because most people do live on coasts, and that's where we get most of our ecosystem services and such. So it is vital that we keep this as pristine as we can.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
All right, so if you'd like to start by saying your name and what year you are and what your major is.
My name is Finian Swan. I'm a senior, and my major is environmental science and resource management.
Nice. So what made you decide to be an environmental science major?
Mostly my parents. So my mom works for the EPA and my stepdad does as well, and they sort of just raised me to believe a certain thing, and I know it stuck with me all the way through now. So it's definitely my upbringing for sure.
Nice. And so you're working on your capstone right now?
Yes, I am. I did my capstone on Santa Rosa Island, part of the Channel Islands National Park here off of the coast.
Nice. And what exactly are you doing there for your capstone?
I was measuring the effectiveness of different erosion control structures at a restoration site there. It's known as the Cloud Forest Restoration Site. They set it up to sort of try to actively restore some native vegetation and landscape there because there's been significant erosion due to native vegetation loss just from historical grazing and hunting the animals that they had allowed on the island. Sort of eliminated a lot of vegetation, and then that led to erosion as it tends to do, and now it's having some trouble bouncing back. So the site that they set up has structures that sort of slow erosion processes, and then they also planted some native vegetation in hopes that it'll sort of grab on and hold things down as well, because plant roots act as anchors in eroded areas and in soil in general. So basically the point of the project was to sort of measure the progress of that area. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then also, as an environmental science major who is working on things like this that are very important, what are your thoughts on threats that are upon the coast?
There's definitely a lot of serious ones. I think overfishing and overpopulation are probably the two more serious ones. A lot of people rely on fishing off the coast for like a job and their livelihood, so it's hard to debate with those types of people and let them know that they are overfishing. And I think another big one is just development along the coastal area, because so many people want to live here, and it just, yeah, we're running out of space. I think that's probably the biggest two I can think of right now. Definitely serious issues that we need to sort of approach with the best method to make sure that we're all going to be able to still use the coast and live in the coast, because it is obviously one of the best places to live. I mean, you look at a map showing like all the census data of where people live, and it's on coastlines, so we got to do our best to take care of it.
All right, perfect. Well, great. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.